Joy's POV. The narrow Seoul street market smelled like grilled meat, kimchi, and opportunity. My first full day in this cold city, and I was already craving something hot and familiar. I stopped at a roadside stall selling tteokbokki and fresh fruit. "Excuse me, how much for this one?" I asked the ajumma, pointing at the spicy rice cakes, my Igbo accent thick with Lagos energy. Suddenly the whole market went quiet. A tall man in a tailored black coat walked past like he owned the air itself. Everyone, stall owners, customers, even the old men smoking, bowed deeply. I just stood there, staring. Bowing? For what? I'm Igbo from Imo State. We respect chiefs and titles and elders, but this man was neither. Why bow to a stranger like a slave? I turned back to the woman. "So, how much?" Kang Tae-joon's POV. I was cutting through the Myeongdong side street after another suffocating meeting. The usual bows came automatically, heads lowered in respect for the heir of Mandara Group. Except for her. She stood there in a bright Ankara top that clung to her curves, jeans hugging her hips, long box braids falling down her back, and those full, glossy lips slightly parted. No bow. Not even a polite nod. She looked me straight in the eyes like I was ordinary. Rage burned through my veins. In Korea, this was outright disrespect. I stopped cold. My voice sliced through the silence. These vendors will not sell to her. She has disrespected the Mandara name. The market women nodded in fear. But the woman turned to me with fire in her eyes and a smile that felt like a slap. Joy Opara's POV continued. This man had the audacity to ban them from selling to me? I laughed, loud, proper Igbo laugh, and stepped right up to him, close enough that my coral earrings swayed. "Oga, who are you supposed to be? Are you a chief? A king? An ends in Imo State? Because last I checked, you're just a fine man in a black coat walking like the world owes you money. If you want respect, earn it, not demand it with your ego." I leaned in, my sassy lips curving. "And by the way, your market women will sell to me. Watch." I dropped extra cash on the stall with a sweet, "Thank you, auntie." The ajumma, torn between fear and the money, quickly packaged my tteokbokki. The man's dark eyes widened. For a split second, the ice cracked. Fury mixed with something hotter, something dangerous. I winked, turned, and walked away, hips swaying with every step. Ada Imo does not bow.
Hello, lovelies. Okay, so you're welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at a very awesome story, and I am so in love with my characters. My female lead and my male lead are very awesome people. Please do not hate them for whatever you're going to be seeing in this story. It's just them being human. And for the record, my female lead is a very bold and fearless woman. And trust me, this is one story you all should not miss.
You came from the sun, I came from the snow. Two different worlds, one story to know. You laugh in my chest, my name in your mouth. We meet in the middle, turn north, turn south. Hold me close, tell me more, start that tale, walk that door. Every glance, every sign, your heart will line, line by line.
Back in my apartment that evening, I collapsed onto the bed, still replaying the moment. The man's face kept appearing in my mind. He was strikingly handsome, sharp jawline, pale skin that contrasted beautifully with the pure white suit, and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of control. But it was the way he looked at me, especially at my lips, that sent an unexpected shiver down my spine. Not fear. Something warmer. Something I wasn't ready to name. I video called my family. My 3 brothers appeared on the screen, all crowded in our living room back home in Imo State. "Joy, how is Korea?" Chinidu, the eldest, asked immediately. I told them everything. The market, the white suit, the way I challenged him. Obina's eyes widened. "You did what?" On your first day. Emeka laughed, but there was worry in his voice. You're our only sister. Be careful out there. That company just bought our spice business. The CEO might be the same man. Chinita became serious. Focus on your work, Ada. But if anyone disrespects you, call us. We'll be on the next flight. Their protectiveness made me smile. Being the last child and only daughter meant I was both spoiled and heavily guarded. But I had fought hard to build our family's spice brand into something international. I wasn't about to shrink now. The next morning, I dressed carefully. I chose a vibrant green and gold ochre blouse paired with a fitted black skirt that flattered my curves. My box braids were neatly tied up, and I applied a bold red lipstick. A final look in the mirror gave me confidence. Represent well, Joy. Mandara Group's headquarters was all glass and steel, sleek, modern, and freezing cold compared to the warmth of Lagos. When I entered the boardroom for the introductory meeting, my steps nearly faltered. There he was. Kang Tae-joon sat at the head of the long table like he owned the universe. He wore another impeccable white suit, even sharper than yesterday's. The bright fabric made his dark hair and intense eyes stand out dramatically. He looked like winter personified, beautiful, untouchable, and dangerously alluring. The entire room fell silent as I walked in. Miss Opara. His voice was low and controlled. We meet again. I lifted my chin and took the seat directly opposite him. Small world, Mr. Kang. I hope you're no longer upset about the market incident. I brought some chin-chin for the team, a taste of home. I placed the container on the table. A few executives exchanged nervous glances. Throughout the meeting, Tae-joon's eyes rarely left me. He listened as I presented ideas for expanding our Igbo spice brand across Asia. Every time I spoke passionately about flavor, culture, and market potential, his gaze intensified. It wasn't just professional interest. There was hunger there, restrained but unmistakable. During a short break, I stood to get water. He rose at the same time. We nearly collided near the door. He towered over me, and his clean, masculine scent, expensive and commanding, wrapped around me. My pulse quickened. You are different, Miss Opara, he murmured, voice dropping to a husky tone meant only for me. In Korea, people know their place. I met his eyes boldly. And in my culture, Mr. Kang, we know our worth. We don't find it in places, we carry it with us. The air between us grew thick. His gaze dropped to my lips for a long second. I could see the battle in his eyes, the cold CEO fighting something far more primal. My own breath became shallow. This man was dangerous, not because of his power, but because of the way he made my body react without even touching me. Later, as the meeting ended and people began to leave, I gathered my things. As I passed his chair, his hand gently caught my wrist. The touch was light but electric. His skin was warm against mine. Joy, he said, using my first name for the first time. The sound of it on his tongue sent butterflies through my stomach. We need to talk. Privately. His eyes had darkened, the ice melting into something raw and intense. I pulled my hand away slowly, but my voice came out softer than I intended. Anytime, Mr. Kang. But I should warn you, Igbo women are not easily controlled. I walked out of the boardroom with my head high, but my heart was racing wildly. As I reached the elevator, I heard his footsteps behind me, steady, purposeful, closing the distance. What was going to happen in that private talk? Well, let's find out. My legs felt unsteady as I followed Kang Tae-joon down the quiet corridor to his private office. The elevator ride had been silent and heavy with tension. When the door closed behind us, he turned to face me. For a moment, something unexpected happened. He smiled. It was a slow, almost gentle curve of his lips that transformed his cold features into something dangerously handsome. The white suit made him look like a fallen angel, sharp and luminous under the office lights. My heart betrayed me with a small flutter. Maybe this private talk wouldn't be so bad. Maybe there was a human being underneath all that ice. Then the smile faded. His expression hardened into something far meaner than what I had seen at the market. His eyes turned dark and cutting, like shards of glass. "Miss Opara," he began, his voice low and controlled. "You seem to think this is a game. Let me make one thing very clear. I can make you disappear. One phone call and your contract, your visa, your entire presence in this country vanishes. You are worth nothing here. A loud, disrespectful foreigner who believes she can challenge me in my own world." Each word landed like a slap. My mouth fell open. I stood there, frozen, unable to respond. The man in front of me was no longer just proud. He was cruel, calculated, the kind of man who had destroyed lives without blinking. He stepped closer, towering over me. "Do not test me again." With that, he turned and walked out, leaving me alone in his massive office. My hands trembled. Tears of anger and shock stung my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I braced myself, wiped my face, and stepped out. Fear sat heavy in my chest, but I lifted my chin. "I am Joy Opara. Ada Imo. I do not break." The walk to the main road felt longer than it should. Seoul's evening air was cold against my skin. I kept replaying his threat in my head. How could one man switch from that brief smile to pure venom so quickly? Then a sleek, expensive black car slowed beside me. The window rolled down smoothly. Kang Tae-joon sat in the back, looking every inch the untouchable CEO in his pristine white suit. He gave me a devilish smile, cold, mocking, full of satisfaction. Without a word, he signaled the driver. The car sped off, tires splashing dirty puddle water all over my skirt and shoes. I stood there, soaked and furious. "You wicked, arrogant bastard," I shouted after the disappearing car. Passers-by stared, but I didn't care. Shaking with rage, I pulled out the business card his PA had given me earlier. My fingers trembled as I dialed. "Hello, this is Mr. Kang's PA. How may I help you? This is Joy Opara. I have something important to deliver to your boss personally. It's urgent." She hesitated, but gave me the address after I insisted it was a special package from the African division. I went straight home, changed into fresh clothes, and filled a large food flask with the dirtiest, smelliest water I could find, mixed with old fish sauce, spoiled vegetables, and anything foul I could get my hands on. The smell was terrible. Perfect. 2 hours later, I stood outside his luxurious mansion on the outskirts of Seoul. The gates were imposing, but I walked in with confidence when the security asked my business. "I am Mr. Kang's new cultural PA," I lied smoothly. "I have a surprise package for him from the office. He's expecting it." They let me through. I spotted him near a sleek white Rolls-Royce in the driveway. He was about to step into the car, still wearing one of his signature white suits. My blood boiled hotter. I rushed forward. "Mr. Kang." He turned, surprise flickering across his face for half a second. Before his security could react, I opened the flask and emptied the entire contents over him. Dirty, smelly water splashing across his perfect white suit, soaking his hair, face, and chest. The stench was immediate and overwhelming. He staggered back, shouting in Korean. His men grabbed me roughly, pinning my arms. I struggled, trying to break free. "Get her off me," he roared, voice filled with disgust. One of the guards asked him something in Korean. I heard Tae-joon's sharp reply. "Do not touch her harshly." Even in his anger, he gave that strange order. They dragged me inside while he went to clean up. My heart pounded with a mix of fear and triumph. I had done it. I had hit back. 20 minutes later, I was brought into a grand sitting room. Tae-joon reappeared in a fresh white suit, hair still damp. He looked even more dangerous. "Kneel," he commanded coldly. "Apologize properly, or I will have you deported by morning. Your career, your family's business, everything ends." I swallowed hard. Slowly, I lowered myself to my knees, eyes down. "I'm sorry," I whispered, voice shaking. He stepped closer. Louder. Mean it. I rose slightly, moving nearer as if to show submission. Then I swung my hand fast, aiming for his cheek. He was faster. His hand caught my wrist in a steel grip. He twisted it behind my back, pulling me flush against his hard body. Before I could react, he cupped my chin with his other hand and kissed me. It wasn't gentle. His lips crushed mine with raw hunger and fury. The kiss was deep, demanding, and shockingly passionate. For a moment, the world disappeared. All I felt was the heat of his mouth, the strength of his body, and the terrifying electricity between us. My knees weakened. A small, unwanted moan escaped me. He pulled back just enough to look into my eyes, breathing hard. His voice was low and rough. You have no idea what you've started, Joy Opara. I never planned to kiss her. That was the first thought that slammed into my mind the moment my lips left hers. Joy Opara stood pressed against me, breathing hard, her full lips slightly swollen and glistening. Those sassy African lips that had haunted me since the market. My hand still held her wrist behind her back, our bodies flushed together in a way that felt far too dangerous for my carefully constructed world. What the hell have I done? For 29 years, I had maintained absolute control. After my mother's suicide, I swore emotions were weapons that could destroy a man. My father drilled it into me. A true heir of Mandara never loses composure. Never lets anyone, especially a woman, crack the ice. Yet here I was, heart pounding like a drum, the stench of that filthy water still faintly clinging to my memory, and all I could think about was how perfectly her body fit against mine. When she knelt pretending to apologize, I expected tears or submission. Instead, she tried to slap me again, the same fire she showed at the market. That defiance triggered something primal in me. Her scent, shea butter, spices, and pure unfiltered woman, mixed with the way her lips had parted in challenge. In that split second, every rule I lived by shattered. I wanted to punish her. I wanted to claim her. I wanted to taste the chaos she carried so freely. And God help me, she tasted like fire and home I never knew I needed. You kiss me back, I replied, my voice lower than I intended. It came out rough, almost possessive. I could still feel the small moan she had made against my mouth. That sound had nearly undone me completely. Joy's cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and rage. She tried to push me away, but I caught her other hand gently this time. Not to restrain, to steady. Miss Opara. Joy, I said, using her name deliberately. This was not supposed to happen. I brought you here to break you. To remind you who holds the power. But you refuse to bend. You fight me with dirty water, with words, with that mouth of yours. My thumb brushed her lower lip without thinking. And now I can't stop thinking about it. Her breath hitched. For the first time since I met her, she looked uncertain. Good. I needed her off balance because I was unraveling fast. I stepped back finally, adjusting my fresh white suit. Even now, the pristine fabric felt like armor I no longer fully trusted. Security will take you home, I said, keeping my tone cold even though my blood was still on fire. Your contract remains. For now. But understand this, what just happened changes nothing. I still own your company's future. I still own your visa. Cross me again, and the consequences will be severe. She lifted her chin, that familiar defiance returning. You can threaten me all you want, Mr. Kang. But you kissed me first. And we both know you wanted more. Her words hit harder than any slap. Because she was right. I turned away before I did something even more reckless, like pull her back into my arms and kiss her until neither of us could breathe. Leave. As her footsteps faded down the hall, escorted by my men, I sank into the nearest chair. My hands were shaking. Me, Kang Tae-joon, shaking because of one bold Igbo woman. I hadn't planned any of this. The market incident was meant to be a simple lesson in respect. The boardroom tension was supposed to put her in her place. even bringing her here tonight. I wanted to intimidate her. Instead, she had turned my world upside down with one flask of dirty water and that fiery spirit. What triggered it? Everything. The way she refused to bow. The way she spoke back without fear. Those full, expressive lips that moved with such passion when she defended her culture. The curve of her hips when she walked away from me at the market. She represented everything my world had denied me. Freedom, emotion, color in a life painted only in white and black. And now I had tasted it. I picked up my phone and called my head of security. Make sure she gets home safely. No one touches her. No one follows her except for protection. Even I didn't fully understand why I added that last part. Hours later, I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, still in my white suit. Sleep refused to come. All I could see was her face after the kiss, shocked, angry, and undeniably affected. I smiled darkly to myself. This woman was going to be my ruin, or my salvation. I hadn't decided which. But one thing was certain. I wasn't done with Joy Opara. Not by a long shot. The next morning, I had already made arrangements. A new challenge. A private dinner at my penthouse. She would be invited under the guise of a mandatory business meeting. Would she come? And if she did, how long could I keep pretending I only wanted to control her? Hello, lovelies. Tae-joon's POV just hit different, didn't it? That internal battle, the cold CEO who never loses control suddenly unraveling because of one fearless African woman, has me screaming internally. I love how his trauma and need for power clash with this sudden, raw attraction. The kiss wasn't planned, but her defiance lit the match. What do you think? Was the kiss too soon or perfectly timed with the tension? If you were Tae-joon, would you have let her go that easily after the kiss, or done something even more intense? And for the ladies, if you were Joy, how would you have reacted to that possessive kiss? Would you slap him anyway, or admit the chemistry is undeniable? Drop your hottest takes below. I'm reading every single one, and it helps shape the next chapters.